Reserving the right to object. So let me explain what's going to happen here in a second. So we've all heard the stories, right? In China, in the Xinjiang province, Uyghur Muslims are taken from their homes, from their families. They're forced to work in these factories as slaves. They're forced to renounce their religion, change their name, forced sterilization, forced abortions. It's been characterized, rightfully so, as genocide. So I filed a bill, bipartisan support, and this bill says that any product that's made in a factory in that part of China, it has a presumption that it's made by slaves. And it passed the Senate unanimously. It's sitting over in the House. So I'm trying to get it here as an amendment on this bill. And here's what happens. The House, they have this thing where they come forward and say, under the Constitution, if it generates any revenue, it has to start in the House. The problem I have with that is that they interpret it very differently than how the Supreme Court has interpreted that clause in the Constitution. Very broadly. In fact, so broadly that they can basically use it on virtually anything. They can just apply it to anything they don't like. And so this is really not about revenue generating. The CBO said it's insignificant, really. This is about the fact that they don't want this bill to pass over in the House. And I understand why. Listen, there's some big companies out there, some very big companies. We know that for a time, Apple and Nike, a lot of big companies are pushing against it. They're not going to admit it. Who's going to go out lobbying in favor of slave labor? But this is their bottom line. They make a lot of money by making stuff by people that aren't paid to make it. And they're lobbying against this thing. And I'm sure they've got rationale for it that they've given people. The bottom line is the House doesn't want to pass this, or at least some people over there don't. And the reason why I know that is because we passed it here unanimously. We sent it over there. And if this was, let me tell you what, if this was a revenue issue, if this was the issue was we're in favor of the policy, you're right, there shouldn't be slave labor and we shouldn't be participating in it. But we can't do it in this bill because it impedes on our prerogative as the House. If that was really their position, it'd be very simple. You pass our version, take the House version, pass a House version of our bill and send it over here and it becomes the law. Why haven't they done that? Let it originate over there and send it here. They haven't offered to do that. They don't. You know why they haven't done it? Because they're not for this. They're not for it. And they wield this blue slip thing to mean whatever they want it to mean. I support many of, not all these amendments on here. Some of them have bigger revenue implications, but apparently those don't have blue slip because they're for it. The blue slip cannot mean it applies when I'm for it applies when I'm not for the policy, and it doesn't apply when I'm for it. That's the bottom line. That's the way to answer. So I'm going to renew what I did here a few days ago, and that is I'm going to ask to modify the request to include my amendment, which is the body of this bill that every member of the Senate's already voted for, amendment number 4330.